Bannerlord is like introducing a highly addictive substance to a former addict. It's a really bad idea to get somebody into this kind of game if you know they might like it, because they will spend the next few days non-stop playing it. And that's exactly what I've done. I am completely into this game now. I've never really been into medieval, sorts of fighting games like this before, but I think this has changed my mind. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to something that I just recently discovered called Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. And by the end, you should be able to know whether or not it might be for you and if you'd want to check it out yourself. So hop on the batter wagon with me as I take you through it. And I promise that's the last pun I'm going to make in this video. Really, guys. Really. I'll try. Mount and Blade's campaign is more than just a combat simulator. It's basically a whole world with a story that you can choose your path in, interact with people in taverns, find companions, work on the backstreets, or become an up-and-up lord that starts their own kingdom. The world is yours for the taking, and you have but to choose the path forward. Now, forgive me, I'm not like a huge history buff, so I don't know specifically what all the types of warriors are called, but there are many different kingdoms in Bannerlord, from Middle Eastern warriors to English kingdoms, French kingdoms, the Roman Empire, Northern Vikings, Celts, barbarians, and even Mongols. I think they also have plans to add even more in the future, like China as well as Japan, but they've not said anything like that publicly to my knowledge, though I'm not like super keyed in on the development of the game so far. In the campaign, you start off basically by yourself, and you have to build your own army. Eventually, you can create your own kingdom if you follow the main storyline, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I recommend it just so you have an option to be able to create your own kingdom, but otherwise you can join somebody else's kingdom and get your own castles that way. The game plays a lot like an RTS game if you ever played. That's a real-time strategy game, but it has that first-person element that makes it a much more intimate experience when you get into battles.
Forward! Horsemen, move! Horse archer!
If you've never played a real-time strategy game before, it works kind of like this. You control different segments of your army and strategically place them on the battlefield to try to outwit the enemy, using the terrain to your advantage. Now, what's different about Bannerlord and what's got me so incredibly excited about Mount and Blade is that instead of having you just be in third person the whole time, you're down on the battlefield with the troops and in danger of dying. So you have to command your troops, get situational awareness of the battlefield, and still fend for yourself simultaneously, making the simulation complete for how it might have felt to command an army back in ancient times. And if you get really good, you can turn the tide of battle by yourself by leading segments of your army to pull the enemy into traps, into ambushes, or into really bad terrain to put them at a huge disadvantage. As you gain renown through winning battles or killing bandits, you'll find yourself building reputation with small villages and even lords to be able to start to recruit even better troops and train them up to be truly crack veteran troops that can take out much larger armies. But there's more depth to the game than that. If you win against an opponent, you can take the leader or lord prisoner for yourself and use them to ransom for, say, getting out of another fight or just getting a little money back. You can also execute them if you like, though that will make a lot of people in the royalty very angry with you, making it harder to gain allies in the future. But it all depends on the situation. If you do get the enemy's king and execute them, it might change the way the whole thing goes for that kingdom. Defeating bandits and armies also will get you a lot of loot and new gear that you can equip yourself or your companions with. Sadly, you can't really equip your own troops, which is something I'd like to see them do in the future so that you can, say, just select the sort of uniform you'd like them to wear. As you progress, you'll be able to form your own armies with other people and be able to take even larger targets like big city castles and smaller castle settlements and claim them for yourself. Having a fiefdom can yield you more money by being able to create caravans and having your own garrison and a place to put prisoners once you've captured them. There's a lot of benefits to it and ruling just in general. You may notice here though in this footage some of the downsides to the current version though. It is still technically in development, and so what you'll find is that there will be some funny bugs. Here you can see the AI getting stuck on simple obstacles, but as of a patch that just came out today, apparently they fixed some of these pathfinding issues that were also causing huge performance drops in these battles because of the amount of calculations that had to happen. They've also apparently fixed an issue where some of the factions would snowball and take over the entire world really early game due to the way that lords were captured and released and eventually just immediately captured again by, say, bandits because they were by themselves. It was really silly. And I think that's another thing that technically makes me really excited about Bannerlord is that the developers are really involved in trying to get this right and fix all of the issues in this first release. There are some, but overall, aside from castle sieges, which seem to be the derpiest of everything plays really well. It's a lot of fun to take castles, to defend castles, to fight people in different terrain and in different seasons. And yes, there are seasons as time progresses. You'll fight in winter, fall, spring, and summer, each offering their different obstacles like movement speed or the troops' morale. And it will also detrimentally affect the amount of stuff you use, like grain that you need to feed your troops. You need to keep them fed and happy and paid as you go through the campaign, or they will desert and leave you. Paying your expenses in Mountain Blade is also not necessarily dependent on war. You can do things in peacetime, like participating in tournaments, which can yield big cash prizes or unique items that you can't really find in the world easily. But if you're not great at combat, you really don't have to do tournaments or war to earn a lot of money. You can also set up trading caravans that trade between big cities once you have your own fiefdom or village. So it really gives you a lot of different options depending on your own skill set to be able to play the game. I mean, just the command part. You can command armies instead of participating more like a traditional RTS game and just stand away from the battlefield so long as you don't lose it and they don't come to kill you afterward. But the game, you'll discover, doesn't really hold your hand. Love it or hate it, it's not an easy game to play through. Sometimes you'll run into situations like missions or choices between going to war or not that you'll regret in the end because they turned out to be the wrong one. And these can have detrimental effects on the way other characters in this world view you, making it harder to do what you originally set out to do. Personally though, I think that really well reflects life in that you never really know the right choice to make, and it can make you, in the end, a better person, a better character, and make your life more interesting. That being said though, there definitely are some things that could be improved, like the clarity of the direction of the campaign. Sometimes the missions aren't super obvious for what you're supposed to do, and in that sense, it can be frustrating, and I hope that they add a little bit more direction when they give you storyline quests.
Infantry! Forward!
So in this battle I'm about to show you, my force of around 88 men strong was attacked by a superior force of 141. However, if you look at the bar at the top, you'll notice that it almost looks like we're evenly matched, with them having a slight advantage. That's because the game takes into consideration veteran troops, as well as the power of cavalry. That's troops on horses. Now, I'm still at a disadvantage here despite my cavalry advantage, and so I chose a river to position myself opposite from them on to make sure that they'd have to run through the river to slow them down while my archers picked off the majority of their foot soldiers. If you stay tuned right to the end, I'm going to let this whole thing play out. I was just able to catch the enemy noble before he was able to escape, and that was really satisfying. There's a lot to love about Bannerlord for me. I love the way that the game plays, but I think it also looks visually stunning. It's a technically well done game, and despite the fact it's still in development, it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like a complete game that they're continually adding things to and creating updates for. Some people have encountered bugs playing that I've heard about, but personally I haven't encountered any. I did encounter, though, some weird issues like snowballing that have recently been corrected, but also some issues, generally speaking, with pathfinding, as well as clarity of the campaign, as I outlined earlier, which I hope that they resolve in a future update. Right now, Bannerlord is available on Steam for 10% off until April 14th for $44.99. Personally, I think it was worth the price, but everybody's different and you're going to have to make your own evaluation based on this video or based on some live footage where you can ask me some questions. You can find me over on Twitch, which will be down in the description below. I'll be playing this on my off streaming days and maybe even on my main streaming days because I've been having so much fun with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Morphologist. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you next time.